Yo, what's going on, guys? This is SLC. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I haven't posted a video in a fat minute because I've been studying for school. So I took this time to take a break from my studies. And on my YouTube channel, you guys know a lot of my content is about self-improvement. So we're gonna read a section. This is page 72 of Think and Grow Rich. So let's just take this time to, everyone, my audience, everyone just chill out, take a couple breathers. I'm gonna read this. This is Think and Grow Rich, page 72. This section is about specialists most sought. And this is the specialized knowledge section. So if any of you have this book, follow along. Here goes. Specialists most sought. Particularly sought after by employing companies are candidates who have specialized in some field. Business school graduates with training in accounting and statistics, engineers of all varieties, journalists, architects, chemists, and also outstanding leaders and activity men of the senior class. So pretty much this section in Think and Grow Rich, the specialized knowledge, what they're talking about is people are already predisposed to their talents based off physiology and biology. You understand what I'm saying? Based off physiology, if you're if you have a really good build, you're 5'6", 5'7", you probably weigh 150, 160, that is a calisthenics build right there. You're mid-weight, and if you're a mesomorph, oh my god. And if you're doing calisthenics at that point, that is a diving talent. You're using your physiology to pick your talent. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, continuing. The man who has been active on the campus, whose personality is such that he gets along with all kinds of people, and who has done an adequate job with his studies, has a most decided edge over the strictly academic student. See, this is why it's alright, even though right now with university and my grades, every entrepreneur that's majorly successful, not to say that if you're an entrepreneur at all A's, that's just gonna help you be more successful because you have the knowledge. But what this book is saying is, in the difference of most entrepreneurs that didn't have all straight A's, is because they tapped into knowledge that wasn't strictly strict. So it's has a most decided edge. It's not to say that you're better, quote unquote, but you have a hunger, an edge, because you didn't rely on that strict good grade system to verify your emotions, if that makes sense. Continuing on. Some of these, because of their all-around qualifications, have received several offers of positions, a few of them as many as 6. In departing from the conception that the straight A student, who was invariably the one to get the choice of the better jobs, said names said that most companies look not only to academic records, but to activity records and personalities of the student. So moving forward into understanding the employees that I'm going to hire, that's literally what it's going to be. It's not to say that I would not look at the resume and be oh, what was your prior schooling? But for me, it's going to be based off of, your integrity. You know what I'm saying? Because if you were to give me someone who went through proper schooling, I would obviously want to pick that person instead because they're more properly educated. But then if there was someone who was absolutely always up in my grill, always on top of things, left, right, they just had everything, they're on top of everything, but they didn't have that quote unquote university situation, that is a possible employee that I would take onto my team, because what I know is that even though they don't have that industrial education, you could say, where it's boom, 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 structure, they created their own version of that in their own life. Think about that, right? Continuing on. one of the largest industrial companies, the leader in its field in writing to said name concerning prospective seniors at the college, said, "We are interested primarily in finding men who can make exceptional progress in management work. For this reason, we emphasize qualities of character, intelligence, and personality far more than specific educational background." I don't really agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. Let me read that again and I'll explain to you guys why I don't agree with it. Alright? We are interested primarily in finding men who can make exceptional progress in management work. For this reason, we emphasize qualities of character, intelligence, and personality far more than specific educational background. What the frick? Yo, who wrote this book? Napoleon Hill? What are you, like, on bot status right now? Why would you not want to hire people with a specific educational background? That doesn't make any sense. Like, not to say that I'm gonna hire people that are like don't have good personalities, that don't have good quality traits, but like you don't want to hire a jack of all trades. You want to hire a person that can only is a master at one thing. So then they can just focus all on that one thing, and then their brain doesn't have to wire themselves, be stressed about whatever else. Then their brains can just fully focus on that one thing, because then what that is it allow you to do as an entrepreneur, right? As the CEO, is to be like that singular job. I can just turn my mind off now because that person only does that one job. So like, bro, who wrote this book? What do you mean you don't want people with specialized or specific educational background? It's interesting. So let me dissect this section right here. What the author of this Think and Grow Rich book is talking about is when you're going through and accomplishing task, you want to do things that are within continuum with your physiology. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like the saying where it's talent doesn't beat hard work. You got to say like hard work beats talent when talent hardly works. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, you need to go with the physiology, allow your physiology to choose your career. Then once you allow your physiology to choose your career, that's when you work really, really hard. You understand what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where it's like, well, why would you work really, really hard? Well, because you're good at it. And think about it. If you're really, really good at it, and you work really, really, really hard at it, and it's your career, it becomes easy. So then at that point, what you do is you're just moving into your vibrational frequencies of yourself. Like your physiology chooses your career, then you go all into your career, then your career makes you, and then you create yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, your career doesn't make you, you make your career. Wait, your career does make you though. Because if you view the career as it's a vector of exchange. Whoa. Because what you actually want to do is your career, right? But you actually doing it was just based off of the appreciation and love of that action because it's in your physiology, right? So back to the calisthenics example where it's in my physiology, right? Like calisthenics is my career, right? Like rapping is my career. The physiology chooses your career, and then your career makes you. It's not you make your career makes you. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like allowing your physiology and then allowing your vibrational frequencies of your higher version of yourself to take over. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not to work really, really hard to get to your vibrational frequencies, to your higher version of yourself. It's not to work really, really hard to get to that point. What it is to allow your higher version of yourself, to allow the higher vibrational frequency versions of yourself to infiltrate who you are right now. Does that make sense? So, if we were to veer off at the topic of the book from earlier and move and kind of shift the conversation to moving into your vibrational frequencies of the higher version of yourself. I said it and it makes sense, but I'm gonna say it again for it's What was I saying? What was I saying? What was I saying? I gotta rewind the tape and hear back what I was saying. What was I saying? It's not to work hard to get to your vibrational higher frequencies version of yourself. Yeah, you don't work hard to get to the vibrational higher frequencies of yourself. What it is, it's hard work to allow the higher vibrational frequency version of yourself to infiltrate who you are right now. That's what I was trying to say. There we go. Okay. It's not to work hard to become, it's not to work hard to get to the higher vibrational frequency versions of yourself. It's to, okay. It's not to work hard to get to the higher vibrational frequency versions of yourself. It's hard work to allow your high vibrational frequency version of yourself to infiltrate who you are right now. Let me explain. Who you are right now is not who you are. Because you're not you. You are the vibrational higher frequency version of yourself. And it's hard work to accept that. Why? Because the higher vibrational frequency version of yourself is not you. The higher vibrational frequency version of yourself is just regurgitated cells from the past that you are reliving. So it's not actually you, it's just revamped cells from the past. That's why you have these memories that aren't yours. You have these new, you have these random memories that aren't yours. That's from the past life. That's from the future life. That's from multiple lives intertwined, right? And so, why I say it's hard work to allow that version of yourself to infiltrate who you are right now is because it's mass discomfort. You are you. And then you're letting a foreign version of yourself infiltrate who you are right now. But you have to go through this process because on the other side of it, 5 years later from wherever you are right now, that higher vibrational frequency version of yourself, because you congeal with it and you allow them to infiltrate who you were back then, what happens is you have two versions of yourself now. You have the version of yourself younger before the higher vibrational frequencies, and then you have the version of yourself after, where you are now at your higher vibrational frequencies. The reason why both these are important and you have both of them in your body is because when you are listening to the higher vibrational frequency version of yourself, you can look at your high vibrational frequency version of yourself from the perspective of your older version of yourself, with your mindset of the higher version of yourself. The reason why this works is because then you look at yourself where you are right now with the mindset of who you were before. So then you're able to see things from the beginner perspective again. However, you are still in your higher vibrational frequency self. And this gives you so much leverage over knowledge because in order to learn faster is to have the mindset of a beginner. However, because you are at the high vibrational frequency version of yourself and you allowed that version of yourself to infiltrate who you are right now, then what happens is as you move through space, you're allowing the synapses in your brain to work in continuum, back and forth, forward and back and forth, forward and back, and the actual internal emotions in the body itself. The body itself has not changed. What has changed though is the synapses and how you view what is the world outside of this mind. You understand what I'm saying? And so by allowing both versions of yourself to work together, you get like this Dr. Hulk sort of situation, right? Where you are able to look at your life from a beginner perspective. However, you're able to also look at a life with the higher version of yourself. And what this gives you is mass leverage because you're able to learn everything super, super fast. And you're able to absorb information extremely fast, right? And so, because of this entrepreneurial journey and because of people that are going to watch this video, what you guys have to understand is that on this journey, at each and every level, I've said this so many times, at each and every level, what you're doing, guys, is you're not adding. You're not whatever. It's a innuendo. It's a metamorphosis, right? And if you think about how metamorphoses work, the butterfly goes in the cocoon and then they leave the cocoon behind. That's what needs to happen with humans is, for humans, as you grow up, humans are very materialistic. But then the millionaires and billionaires and now trillionaires that are realizing, wait, it's actually the opposite. By repelling and not seeking out materialism, that's when the materialistic wealth actually manifests. It doesn't make any sense at all, but this is how reversed this realm is. The more you seek out mental and spiritual wealth, the more that the physical wealth will manifest. And the opposite is true. If you are manifesting more physical wealth, then the spiritual and then the mental wealth is actually deteriorating. So it's like extremely powerful where you start with mental health, then you go to mental health, mental wealth, spiritual health, spiritual wealth, then you get material health, material wealth. Versus if you had material health, material wealth first, then you actually drop and decrease in your emotional and spiritual sufficiency. So you have to be very, very cognizant of how you're getting your bread. You need to be very cognizant of how you're getting your bag. You need to be very cognizant of how you're getting this paper. Because within this physical realm, we only have one chance, right? So if that's the case, you need to move through space with that intentionality of, if I'm going to be making money and paper, it needs to be moving at that frequency, which within this singular life makes sense for me. Okay? Now, by having your spiritual and mental health be in check, what ends up happening is you have all these quote-unquote materialistical things that are part of the mental and spiritual wealth, but it doesn't affect you. It literally has zero effect over you. Like for me, $1 million is nothing. That's chump change, right? And that is because of my mental and spiritual wealth. What I realize is that there's no price cap on my kids. What I realize is that there's no price cap on the people that I care about. What I realize is that there's no price cap on that. What I realize is that there's no price cap on humanity. There's no price cap on human experiences where you talk to people and you guys connect. There's no price cap on that, right? So that emotional and mental health, and emotional and spiritual wealth, that then once the physical wealth manifests into itself, right? I meet a bunch of people. I'm selling a bunch of records. I'm the best rapper in the world. I'm doing a bunch of performances, doing a bunch of venues, whatever. Da 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 da. And it feels like nothing because I started from within and then I moved externally. You guys need to realize that the richer you are on the inside, the richer you will be on the outside. You see what I'm saying? Why is that? The poorest people not necessarily are poor on the outside. I know they're like, you can have a successful business but be miserable, and then in actuality the whole entire infrastructure, you think, oh, if I like, you're on this balance beam, you think if I make a mistake the whole infrastructure will die. Let it. You need to like the as an entrepreneur, as a leader, right? People that are following my content, you guys are leaders. If you're in a situation, you're at a road and there's a block and you're like, damn, like I own this big business, it's just that I'm not passionate about anymore, every day I'm walking out on eggshells or whatever, absolute obliterate it. Just do it. Okay, like let's say you have this business, right, and there's a lot of infrastructure. What you would rather do is obliterate that infrastructure, rebuild it up for 6 months to a couple years, and then have it be the way that it's actually within tune of who you are. Then the next 5 years be miserable and always be walking in eggshells. Every day you're miserable, and then you end up committing suicide 5 years later. Like, we don't want that. And on top of that, if you were to obliterate everything and then restart on something that you actually enjoy, like a business venture that you actually enjoy. Take, for example, let's say there's a content creator on YouTube. They did content for a while, but then they didn't like it, and then they wanted to go into real estate. But then they were like, oh, the content is making me money anyways, but then I don't want to do that anymore. what that person could do is hard pivot all their content to just real estate content. But they don't want to do content anymore. They're tired of content, and they would just stop doing content and then go do real estate. But the thing is, all of their accolades and past knowledge of content makes them doing real estate easier. Oh, taking pictures of the property. I've done that. It's easier for my clients, right? But because that person did that, now they're able to vibrationally move through space better. They just feel better that they obliterated their content business and they focus on their real estate business. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna die anyways. We have one life. These are these roots. You might as well. You have kids, you have a family, you have a wife, you have a house, you have all this other stuff. But life is hard. That's the point. Life is hard. That is the point. You're not supposed to, okay, I'm at this point, but now let me just keep going down this rabbit hole and getting more and more sick, getting more and more unhappy. Like, let me continue doing this content venture, but I don't really like it. Versus obliterate everything, let me full blown go all my efforts into real estate. And because now that I'm starting over, I can start over from experience. Think about what the objective is. The objective is to put food on the plates for my wife. The objective is to put food on the plates for my kids. The objective is to have clothes on the backs of my family. The objective is to have a house. That's the objective, right? So now that you left behind the content and that you fully committed into real estate, that objective now is just laser focused. You're able to move with way more vibrational, directional frequencies. Let me give you guys another example, okay? Let's say there's someone that started doing like a management for artists. So like, let's say there was like, a university like with a bunch of campus artists. Okay, and these 20-year-olds are getting out of college and they need like a sponsorship, like an agency. So then this person creates a management where they have like 10 people coming in to create art for this industry, right? But then there's one individual in that industry who appreciates it, but they want to move their focus into selling my art to then becoming a manager of selling art, right? And then by moving into that vibrational frequency where they shifted from creating art to then being a person that manages to sell art, and what they realize is, oh, you can still, how can I say this? What that person will realize is like, I'm still doing what I enjoy. Wait, hold on. What the person will realize is I'm gonna stop doing things I don't enjoy. And what that's gonna do for me is all the knowledge that I got from doing things I did not enjoy. When I now do things that I do enjoy, I will apply that knowledge. And if what I was doing before I didn't enjoy was still getting me the objectives, food on the plates, clothes on the backs, roof above the head, right? The family good, those are the objectives. If you were able to hit all the objectives with the things that you didn't enjoy, imagine being able to hit the objectives with the things that you do enjoy. So, everyone, my name is SLC. This has been a very, as you guys know, I like to chop it up. I like to give a lot of value. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we will sign off and talk more later.